Hallelujah, hallelujah. 27 up just a little bit. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. A little bit, just a little bit. Hallelujah. That's good. Thank you. Praise the Lord. Good evening, church. Hallelujah. I tell you what, we got a lot to be thankful for and a lot to be praying for. My mother, bless her heart, she's going through some stuff, having to check on her. She's got a heart appointment coming up with the doctor and things going on. And Brother Tillman, been praying for him. I believe they do surgery in the morning. Is that right? And we pray and everything is going to go good. Amen. We believe everything's going to be all right. Anybody else got any other needs that we need to pray about tonight?
Pray for my son-in-law. He's at my house. His
Right.
foot is in bad shape.
In bad
Pray
shape.
that they'll take care of it tomorrow when he goes to the hospital.
I saw his foot. He was telling me a little about it the other day. There's so many hurting people out here in this world. It's a shame that they won't turn to the only one that can help us. See, doctors can do a lot of things, and they're good, and I'm glad for them.
Amen.
But there's a lot of things they can't do. Amen. Neither one of them.
We're still praying for it. I've got my letter from my doctor money. I'm still cancer-free.
Cancer-free. Wow. That deserves a hand clap. Amen. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Go ahead, sis.
My youngest son goes in, like I said, goes in surgery Tuesday.
This
This coming Tuesday for his back surgery.
and that you got him on the board. Is that the one we've been praying about? So we want to remember that. I tell you what, we'll let you stand in. I know we pray over the board, but I can tell that son's dear to Mama's heart. That grandson.
They all are.
They all are.
Yes, they all
Amen.
are.
Just a grunt more volume on 27, please. Just a grunt more. I'm having everybody eat this thing like an ice cream, and I don't like to lick them that close. Hallelujah.
My sister bought it today and broke her heel. She's a surgeon now.
Oh my God, broke her hip. Wow. That's what Aunt Barbara fell the other day. And our cousin fell, broke her hip the other day. Man, I tell you, the older we get, the more we realize we need Jesus. We need him all the time. I tell you, that lets you know we're not invincible. Court's Tuesday. Immediate change. Amen. She's been going through a battle with her ex-husband for a while about using the kids for a farm. And his reign on terrorizing those kids and keeping them from their mother is fixing to come to an end. And we don't believe that. In the name of Jesus. Anyone else tonight before we begin praying? Amen. Hallelujah. Well, if y'all would, I could come back to you, but there's so many of you. Won't y'all just come on, sis. The ones up that you will. Would y'all come stand in for? The reason I like to do that is because y'all call them out and they won't be just another name in the crowd. Amen. Amen. Sister Barbara, do you feel like coming up? If you call out prayer, if you don't want to come up now, when we get through praying, just hold your hand in alignment. We will come to where you at. Amen. We will come to where you at. Amen. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. All of you who will, stretch your hands this way. And let's pray for these ladies. Listen. In the name of Jesus. Father, right now, God, we ask you to touch her sister, Lord. We ask you to speedy recovery, Lord. Let the surgery go well. In the name of Jesus. God, you see her heart. She called it out. She's standing in for it right now. God, we're asking you to do a speedy recovery, a speedy healing. God, whatever they're having to do, let it be successful in the name of Jesus. We all agree and we counting on you, Father. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. I believe it's going to be all right, sis. In the name of Jesus, help us pray for Mother. Father, I ask you, let this surgery, God, let this surgery be successful, God. In the name of Jesus. No complications. in the name of Jesus. And Brother Tillman, God, I ask you, Lord, let this be successful also in the name of Jesus. 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 We're believing with y'all. We're agreeing that it's going to be okay in the name of Jesus. Amen. She says, I know it is. In the name of Jesus. Now, who else do we need? Your sister. This battle is fixing to be over. In the name of Jesus, Father, enough is enough. Lord, I ask you to let the court find in April's favor. God, let her start having a relationship with her children. And don't let nothing block it or hinder it, God. Whatever they try to throw in at her, I ask you to turn it around, God, and use it on him. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus, Lord. Let her spend her first weekend with her children. Something she hadn't done in a while, God. In the name of Jesus. We're going to believe this is her weekend now, that you hear me. This is her weekend with those kids. First time in a year or more. Amen. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. Somebody else, Sister Barbara. Let's pray for Sister Barbara's son-in-law. Amen. Everybody that wills, come and stretch your hands out. Let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we ask you to move on behalf of her son-in-law. God, you see the need. You see what needs to happen. God, I ask you to petition the court right now, God. In the name of Jesus, God, we need your help. God, we believe and trust in you. We're asking you to do what no doctor cannot do. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Anyone else, did we miss anybody that called out prayer? Anyone that called out prayer, did we miss them? We don't want to miss nobody. Amen. Let's pray over our walk. Y'all will stretch your hands this way. Let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, I ask you to touch every person on this walk. God, I ask you to save. I ask you to set free. I ask you to deliver, God. I ask you to make whole, God. God, change these lives, Lord, in the name of Jesus. Change them, God, set them free. God, save, deliver, set them free, God, in the name of Jesus. Lord, we petition you, God. You're the one we count on, Lord. You're the one we understand the word says that we're to call upon you in your name. In the name of Jesus, we're to believe. And we do believe in the name of Jesus. We believe something's going to change. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. Look at here, there was a lady preached here last Sunday night. She said there was a couple of people here that needed to rededicate their life. Those same two people felt to come up last night when the brother was speaking. I'm going to ask them to come up tonight. Come on up. This is time to reunite your vows with God. It's time to make things right. It's time to set this relationship back on a strong and firm rock, and his name is Jesus. Amen? His name is Jesus. Y'all, would y'all hold hands? This is a relationship and a journey we travel together. Not separate, but together. Amen? I know it's a personal relationship with Jesus, but you're a family, so you walk it together. Amen? In the name of Jesus.
Praise God. Praise God.
Y'all ready to take your vows? Just to renew them vows. Well, let's just do it. Say, Father, in the name of your Son Jesus, I surrender.
I surrender.
I know that I am no good on my own. I need a Savior. And you are He. So I surrender right now. And I believe you are the Son of God. You died on the cross for my sin. And you rose again. And you reign in heaven today. Now the Bible says if you confess Him with your mouth and you believe in your heart that you are saved. Now raise your hands and let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, accept them into the fold, God. They're part of our family, God. Now they're a big part of the family of God. Lord, I ask you to use them, Lord. Wake them up in the wee hours of the night to talk to them, God. Instill in their hearts, Lord, a desire to seek you, to walk after your statutes of virtue. In the name of Jesus. God, I ask you, Lord, protect them and guide them, Lord. In everything they do, God. Unite them a stronger bond than they've ever had. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. Hallelujah. Welcome to the family. You know what I hear? I hear Papa up there laughing, saying, "Ha, devil." Amen. I love y'all. Love y'all so much. I love you. God knows you love. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Amen. On that note, all who will, come help us sing for the glory of God. You don't want to come up here, grab your book, and sing where you're at. We're going to lift the roof off this place tonight. Hallelujah.
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 Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
Wow.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
Hallelujah, Jesus.
Thank you, Lord Jesus.
Hallelujah, Jesus.
Thank you, Lord Jesus.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
Praise God.
Glory to God. Thank you, Lord.
Let's make a joyful noise unto the Lord tonight. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Lord Jesus.
Hallelujah.
Thank you, Lord Jesus.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Jesus.
Thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you, Lord Jesus.
I hear you, Father.
Hallelujah, Jesus.
That's something to rejoice about right there. Hallelujah. You know the Bible says the angels of heaven rejoice over one person that comes to Christ. One person. We ought to be excited when somebody comes to Christ. Amen. Hallelujah.
Charles, turn 56, please. 56.
Get sick.
I don't know why I didn't just look it up.
Praise Jesus. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, Jesus.
All right, everybody got them a book? Help us sing tonight, will you? Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord.
There is joy divine, there is everywhere, chasing forward and forgetting my me. I never can see on my blessed King, by His grace I have been made free. There is grace for every need, grace for you, grace for me, to this way, grace is saved. Do what?
Yes, turn the monitors down just a wee bit, if you would. I heard that. I did hear that.
I didn't pay any attention.
Thank you, Jesus.
What about 92? Y'all like it?
92's a good one.
I want this world to sing, but Jesus me, and then the light from heaven fill my soul. Everybody love and hope and above, and just because when Jesus made me whole. Now let us find this on with Jesus, let us give him our trouble. We will hear our thanks cry, we will answer by now. When you hear a prayer word, and you'll know that I am worthy, you will find this on with Jesus, makes it right. Sometimes the fashion dream will find a way of truth, and then run out behind the light of day. The suspicion may rise and find the starry sky, but just as long as Jesus clear the way. Now let us finally start with Jesus, let us bring him around. He will hear our thanks cry, he will answer by now. When you feel prayer of faith, and you know that God is worthy, you will find the love with Jesus makes it right. I may not doubt to be, my eyes are filled with tears, but Jesus is a friend who watches day and night. I go to him and pray, he knows my every tear, and just to talk with Jesus makes it right. Now let us finally talk with Jesus, let us give him all our trouble. He will hear our thanks cry, he will answer by now. When you feel prayer returning, you'll know that God is worthy, you will find the talk with Jesus makes it right. Well, it's alright, 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 alright. Just to talk with Jesus makes it right. It's alright, 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 alright. Just to talk with Jesus makes it right. Now let us finally talk with Jesus, let us give him all of our trouble. He will hear our thanks cry, he will answer by now. When you feel that prayer returning, you know that God is worthy, you will find that God with Jesus makes it right. I may have doubts and fears, my eyes are filled with tears, but Jesus is a friend who watches day and night. I go to him and pray, he knows my every fear, and just to talk with Jesus makes it right. Now let us have a little talk with Jesus, let us give him all of our trouble. He will hear our thanks cry, he will answer by now. When you feel a prayer of prayer, you will know that God is worthy, you will find the talk with Jesus makes it right.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Praise your wonderful name tonight, Lord. Praise your wonderful
Thank you,
name.
Lord.
Hallelujah.
Praise the
Thank you,
Lord.
Lord.
Somebody else got
Hallelujah,
one.
Jesus.
What about 110?
What pen?
Hallelujah, Jesus. Hallelujah.
Thank you, Lord Jesus.
Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Woo! Praise the Lord. Some glad morning we shall see Jesus in the air, coming back there you and me, for time to share. What rejoicing that will be when the saints shall rise, and for that jubilee yonder in the sky. Oh, what singing, oh, what shouting, on that great morning when That's just the day in the twinkling of an eye, changing into blue. I wanna say goodbye to that Jubilee. Oh, I sing, oh, I'm shouting on that big morning goes alright. Oh, I love hallelujah, hallelujah, let's sing in the sky. When all that day long, we began to sing, sing it in the Holy Ghost, high in the rain. There will join the sun, but then we shall be. Praise Christ and praise God, and won't you believe? Oh, I sing, oh, I'm shouting, from that big burden goes alright. Oh, I love hallelujah, hallelujah, let's sing in the sky.
Hallelujah. So good, choir. Amen. Hallelujah. Jesus was looking over and found us all real big. Amen. All right.
I just felt like the Lord wanted me to testify. I tell something I've been on my mind the last day or two, and I laid in bed thinking about it. See, I just tears just my face got wet all over again. By the time I heard it, my face got wet. And I've done over the years, once in a while, the Lord would let me remember. But you know, they told us that Jesus will meet your needs. And we thought we had some that Jesus didn't meet, but when you got right down to it, it was something we wanted that we really didn't need. But I mentioned this morning about the older folks, people that was older folks. When I come into this church, and that's been 59 years ago, a little more than 59 years ago. One of the older ladies in the church was always faithful to the Lord. She got, 2 or 3 of them had passed away. She said she got something. I think it was pancreatitis. I'm not sure, but it was something that makes you very, very, very sick. And they thought she was going to die. They had her on tubes and feeding her on tubes, and they couldn't give her anything but mouth. She begged for water. Her sister-in-law was the one that told me about this, and I think I was the last one found out about it. So everybody knew about it but me, but I ran into her one day, and we was talking, and I found I got this story that I never have forgotten. Said that they had her, she was a very much of a lady, but she had suffered so much, she wanted water so bad. She begged, and she tried to pull her tubes and everything out. They had to restrain her. Her family stood by her. They had to go home that night. And they left her there, left her restrained, and they just broke their hearts because she was such a gentle lady. She was one that did for herself. But she couldn't do for herself. She begged for a drink of water. And they left her. She told me how her heart just broke, and she said, oh God, somehow, Lord, be her need. And the next morning when they got there early, strength was off of her arms. She was smiling and cheerful that was normal for her to be. I said, something has happened to you. What happened to you? She said, oh yes it did. She said, Jesus come to visit me last night.
Amen.
And she said he was standing by my bed, and he said, Lizzie, he said, you was calling for me. What can I do for you? She said, Lord, that I want some water. She said, I did want some water so bad. And she said, it's all right. He said, come with me. And she went with him. She said she followed him, and out of the room, and they went down a path that she hadn't been before, but she came to a little spring she'd never seen before. She said there was a dipper hanging there for him. A lot of the younger people might not know what a dipper is, but us old folks, we know what a dipper is. And she said, he gave her that dipper. He said, you drink all you want. She said she started drinking that water, and she said it looked like it was the best water she'd ever had in all of her life. But she filled up. She handed back the dipper, and he hung it back. And he said, are you sure you got enough now? She said, yeah. He says, I'm going to take you back. And he took her back to the hospital bed, helped her get in. She said he helped her get in and out. And he said, I'm going to leave you now, but says, you won't have to worry about this, being thirsty anymore. It says she never complained of thirst anymore. She never complained of thirst anymore. Oh, hallelujah to God. Mama, people, it's worth it. It's worth it to be faithful to God. Worth it to be faithful to God.
Hallelujah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
I'm just ready to have a little.
Hallelujah.
Brother Harry was coming when she was telling that beautiful story. Sis, I needed that.
Amen.
That lifted spirit right there.
Oh, yeah. Hallelujah.
I remember walking into that ICU room with my
Think about
daddy,
the field of spirit.
and he was in bad shape. He had all them tubes running out. And I was trying to talk to him about, been praying, gonna be all right. Sometimes we can be tired to talk to people about something, and they got something else on their mind. What brought my mind back to that?
She over that sickness and she got to go home.
He looked at me and he said, son, I'm trying to talk to him. You know all he could say? He's restrained with his hand and he's got tubes down his throat. And he said, son, can you get me that sponge over that water and put it in my mouth? And I won't never forget, I'd dip that sponge in that water and I'd stick it in his mouth. And he almost took it out of my hand, sucking every drop. And I'd give him another one and another one. So I've seen people thirsty. I've been thirsty. Sometimes only a drink from the Master will do. Amen. Amen. Y'all, before he sings, Brother James, we missed you this morning, buddy.
I took your spot.
Brother Charles helped us out. Amen. I'm going to stand up here where I can kind of look nose to nose. We can pray together. Amen. I won't have to look up at you and wonder how the weather is. Actually, I think I may have an inch on you up here. Let's pray over this thing. Father, we thank you tonight. God, we love you so much. We know that you love us so much for what you've done. God, I ask you to bless each person here. If they have $1 to give or if they do not, God, bless them alike in the name of Jesus. And make it enough, Father. Godspeed, my brother. Amen. Thank you, Brother Charles.
That's it, Steve. While the world looks up on me as I struggle along, they say I have nothing, but they are so wrong. In my heart I'm rejoicing, I wish they could see. Oh, thank you, Lord, for your blessing on me. Oh, yes, there's room
Praise the Lord. Sister Shirley, you gonna sing tonight?
Yeah, I didn't have a paper.
Hallelujah.
Are you knocking me down?
No, I wasn't. I didn't make it like it sounded.
That's okay.
Farmers always know what you're talking about.
Hallelujah.
Hey, man.
Thank you, Lord.
Y'all are doing a song this afternoon.
I don't know where I'm gonna be able to do it or not, but the whole time this song was on my mind, I was crying as I was singing. Are you gonna help me with it, Brother Yvonne? Or you gonna sit back there? Or you want Charles to help me with it? You want Charles to help me with it? That's what heaven means to me.
Heaven means to me.
Oh, we know that song. Yeah, we know that song.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you, God is so good to us. I remember I laid in that hospital. I was in critical care unit for 6 long weeks. With all those tubes in me. I got so thirsty, I offered one of them nurses $10 to swallow the water. She said, I wish I could.
Y'all, if I go to crying on this song, Brother Yvonne's gonna take it over. I just feel like the Lord's gonna move. A country where the twilight on Indian days a silver stone. The twilight gathered on. And this is just wonderful. God will return when we get over yonder and join the chorus of blessed sing. We'll join our loved ones and their cry forever. Oh, this is just what heaven is. Play it, y'all.
Praise the Lord. Amen. Hallelujah. I believe if y'all will sing that one more time, everybody else but God does to that. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise God. That's a good Jesus. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Bless him, Jesus. Give us a little light.
When I just can't see the sunshine or the many tears I've cried, when I'm left alone to struggle and I've lost my will to fight, when the road ahead is rocky and I fail to understand, that's when I need reassurance that we're walking hand in hand. Reassure me, Lord, that your hand is guiding me. Let me know the road I walk is what you chose for me. I need to hear your voice whisper to me, peace, peace, when those rivers all dry, walk through valleys and wide, when those mountain gaps tonight, reassure me. Now you say your days are lonely and your nights are lonely fears. All the dreams you dreamed have crumbled and your smiles have turned to tears. There's no need for you to worry when you've done all. Simply stand, discern your thrill, His holy presence, and the touch of nail-scarred hands. Reassure me, Lord, that your hand is guiding me. Let me know the road I walk is what you chose for me. I need to hear your voice whisper to me, peace, peace, when those rivers all dry, walk through valleys deep and wide, when those mountain gaps too high, reassure me. When those rivers all dry, walk through valleys deep and wide, when those mountain gaps too high, reassure me.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Sister Shirley. Amen. Sister Man. Hallelujah.
Lord, bless him, good Jesus.
Amen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Huh? She's coming. She's coming. Amen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. What key we do? Which one we do? Okay. Well, y'all let me know when you want to come practice, and we'll make it one. That's in E.
Hallelujah.
slow down, slow down. Amen. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. I like to see somebody wants to do something for the Lord. Amen. Oh, hallelujah.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. 1, 2, 10, 4. You going to say 17, 11, or 11, 17? How do you say that? 11.
All the sorrow here we won't have to bear when we tell this world goodbye. We'll be going away forever to stay in that land that Jesus prepared. Oh, I will shout and sing in praises to our King when we will up there on high. We will praise the Lord, all in one accord, live there and never die. I've got my mind on heaven, my eyes on Jesus. I'm getting ready to go. I've got my ticket paid and I'm on my way to that happy home of my soul. And there was so much joy when I see my Lord. All my sorrows left behind. Oh, what a happy day to hear my Savior say, welcome, my child, you're home. Oh, sometimes down here, oh, Satan tempts me so and tries to discourage my soul. But then I hear that voice that's so often before saying, I'll make a way for you. Come and take my hand, I'll lead you to the land where our troubles all will be over. For in that home on high, Jesus is the light, and darkness will be no more. I've got my mind on heaven, my eyes on Jesus. I'm getting ready to go. I've got my ticket paid and I'm on my way to that happy home of my soul. And there was so much joy when I see my Lord, all the sorrows left behind. Oh, what a happy day to hear my Jesus say, welcome, my child, you're home. That was another song that Mama wrote, 1963.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
Amen. That was Grandma's song.
That's a good Jesus.
Oh, Savannah. Savannah.
Savannah.
Okay. Well, we have that right.
Alan, you know the
Hallelujah.
Yeah, Alan.
Alan, where is he?
Yeah, Alan.
He's shaking his head no too. We got to teach him a different way to shake than that. We can do it that way. Amen. Hallelujah. It's all in having fun. Amen. Amen. Sometimes you feel it, sometimes you don't. Amen. Brother Henry, you ain't feeling it tonight, are you? He's shaking his head no too. So. Amen. Hallelujah. Ain't nothing wrong with life and having a little fun. Ain't nothing wrong with it at all. Amen. Hallelujah. 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 Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Now
Well, she's coming. Most of you know, I've told it many times. Story said a while ago. I told it lost all my blood. They got me to the hospital, they rushed me in and gave me 12 pints. I still died on them. I died, the doctor says that's it. But there was hundreds of folks praying. And it's beginning to multiply. My Lord, they started, had surgery on me. There was, all the waiting rooms was full, the hall was full, and it said something like 50 people outside. My old brother had to drink. He was drinking at night. He said he was sitting in his truck crying and said, Lord, don't let my brother die. The doctor told him that it's over. He's gone. All of a sudden, one of them said, I got a pulse. They went back, over 2. I died 3 times. The 3rd time, he said, I'm not bringing him back anymore. They brought him back twice. Not going to do it anymore. That's it, cover him up. But see, God knew that, and he had a doctor waiting on the outside, out in the hall. He come walking in and said, I'll take over. We ain't going to let this man go. Hallelujah. I spent, as I said, 6 weeks in this critical care unit. 2 or 3 weeks in a regular room, or supervised room. And then I spent about 2 months, I believe it was, in bed at home. Because they said I'd never walk again. Oh, people was coming every day. My Lord, prayers was going up all over the world. Listen, God's in charge, amen. One day I got up, I took that old walker, I made slow steps, following the walker. About 3 steps out, 4, and that's about that much back to the bed. I was so happy I shouted all over the place. And then I think it was 2 days later, it was Christmas Day, and some of the children come over. I know Kim was there. They wanted to see me walk. So I did the same thing again, a little more. And I'm telling you, that's a happy time. I can still feel it when they started sticking that hole down my throat, not my stomach out. They didn't have time to deaden me, they said. I wasn't live, so they just started poking it down. Boy, I'll tell you what, just a little old pill can choke me. They go to putting a hole as big as your finger down your throat, but the thing about it, they got it in there and turned around, I pulled it back out. Then I had to wait for them to do it again. Down the road here on the right, the guy makes his barbecue grills out of gas tanks. His wife was a nurse at Flowers Hospital. She was one of the nurses. She was my home nurse when I got out. She'd drive up in front of the house, get up, come in, and told her I'd walk. She said, I don't believe it. I want to see it. I got up and walked to the front door and back with the walker. She said, Lord have mercy. They said, you'd never walk. Maybe that. She said, you're going to be back in the pulpit one of these days, ain't you? I said, I am. Ricky was taking care of it all in months. She said, I want to know when you're going to preach because I'm going to be on the front pew. So it wasn't long after that. I let them know. I said, well, Sunday night, I'm going to be preaching. Her and her husband both were sitting right there. I walked in. She knew what God had done. I knew what God had done. Hallelujah. The doctor doesn't give up, see. God didn't give up. So don't quit because it looks so bad. I preach a message sometimes. Stay in the boat. Stay in the boat. Hallelujah. You know, Peter told the folks the storm was coming up. They began to get out of that big boat. And he said, stay in the boat. Stay in the boat. And you'll fare all right. Hallelujah. God bless you. From the depths of the pit, I tried so hard, but I couldn't touch him. And in my despair, I cried so loud, it seemed he didn't hear me. Lost and undone, but a sin is so locked up in prison with no one to put my bed. Every time I sought for freedom, one day was only paid. There I was in sin's dark night, bound in chains of misery. The Lord, He paid me a visit, unlocked my sail, He set me free. From the depths of the pit, I tried so hard, but I couldn't touch Him. There in my despair, I cried so loud, it seemed He didn't hear me. Lost and undone, the sin is of the world. His hand was never down, and I could be the depths of the pit, I tried so hard, but I couldn't touch Him. There in my despair, I cried so loud, it seemed He didn't hear me. Lost and undone, the sin is of the world. His hand was further down, when I could reach her. Hallelujah. I spent a rough year. Spent about 8 months, I'm sure, since I first got sick. One of my nurses come by Friday. I hadn't seen her since I first got sick. 3 or 4 nurses I have come to the house, but didn't even know her. She come in. She said, my Lord, I like that road here. You're looking so good. And I'm thinking, this girl ain't making a play, I'm sure. She hadn't seen me since I first got sick. She said, she just kept on Sterling. She said, you're looking so good. I said, I feel so good compared to what I have for all them months. You don't know how much I wanted to be here at church when I was laying over in the house and couldn't. Every service.
Yes, Lord.
Many services I come over, but I couldn't stay. I had to go back and lay down.
God, praise God.
Thank God tonight I'm feeling the Lord. I'm going to be shouting.
Amen.
Hallelujah. Ain't he good?
Amen.
Glory to God. Glory to God.
I may forget the verses of other people got them, so y'all pray for me.
Down here, my burden's heavy, and the road seems dark and long, and sometimes my feet get weary, and so sore. But the day is coming, soon I step on heaven's shore, and I won't have to worry anymore. No, I won't have to worry. Oh, he's the shore. All my troubles will be over, and I'll rest forevermore. My eyes will be on Jesus, and my heart will be alone, and I won't have to worry. Someday, when life is over, and I set my hands to fly, and I'll see the Savior standing at the door. And I'll hear him say, oh God, all your cares are left behind, and I won't have to worry anymore. No, I won't have to worry. Oh, when I reach the shore, all my troubles will be over, and I'll rest forevermore. My eyes will be on Jesus, and my heart will be alone, and I won't have to worry
Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Thank you so much. Mute all these minds and Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Okay. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. I tell you what, we We serve a mighty God tonight.
Amen.
We serve a mighty God tonight. And we're going to let Brother Charles just come on and obey the Lord. I just want him to pour out from his heart. That's all we ask you, brother. You just give us something from your heart.
Amen.
That's all we ask. Amen. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. I love the Lord tonight.
Amen.
Good to see all of you in the house of the Lord.
Thank you, Lord.
I've got so much. I told Brother Ricky, I've got so much in this
Thank you, Jesus.
that I don't know where it even starts.
Blessed good Jesus. Blessed.
Praise the Lord. I don't know where. Praise the Lord. If you've got your Bibles with me, turn to Joshua. I've got several scriptures, but I just want to read one and start. Chapter 7 and verse 1. And like I said, I don't know how I'm going or which way to go. As Brother Ricky says, he said, Lord, it belongs to you.
Come on.
Amen.
Amen.
I said, all I ask you, don't let me throw it in the floor. Let the people receive it.
Oh, blessed good
And I thought about what Sister Hatcher said last Sunday night. Anybody remember what she said when she got up here?
Hallelujah.
She said, I'm just a pipe.
Come on.
God is the water.
Amen.
And I can only do what the water allow me to do.
Come on.
Amen.
That's right.
So I'm just a vessel tonight.
Just the best.
And I don't know, I've been praying and asking God today how I should do this. What should I do this? And I've got my little things I put out here and probably won't go with none of it.
Come on.
But you try to prepare the best you can. Amen.
Amen.
But if I was to title this tonight, I would title it, The Family That Stole from God.
Come on.
Come on.
And if you read your Bible and you know Joshua, we're talking about a man named Achan.
Come on.
Come on.
And like I said, I don't know how I'm going to do this. It's just, I'm going to let the Lord do it. Amen.
That's it. That's it.
Chapter 7, verse 1 says, But the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing, for Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, the tribe of Judah, took the accursed thing, and the anger of the Lord was kindled before the children of Israel. And before I get too deep into that, let's back up and recap just a little bit. As they were coming over across, they had to cross the Red Sea.
Yeah.
The Lord had told them what to do, how to do it, to get there, and prepare these things for Jericho.
Oh, yeah.
The Jericho was a mighty city with a mighty wall around it.
Yes,
Thick,
it was.
it said. He done these things. He told them exactly what he wanted to do. But as you back up, I remember when I read about there that God says it's going to be a cursed thing. And I won't use my words for it. He said, this is my city.
Come on.
Come on.
Everything in here is mine.
Yeah.
It belongs to me.
Yeah.
All the gold, the silver, the iron, the bronze, all of these things are going to be put up in the sanctuary. He says, everything's going to be burned. It's going to be destroyed. Touch nothing. Because if you do, then you are cursed. And all the children of Israel are cursed upon this thing.
Amen.
Before I get too deep, I want to tell you a little story. I found this on sermons.com, and I like this little story. It says, I'm going to try to do it. It said, a man went to his first AA meeting. I ain't never been to one. I wish alcoholics didn't have to go to that. But man went to AA meeting, and he was telling them about his adventure. And said they were drinking one night, and all his friends tried to talk him into letting them take him home. He said, no, I don't live but a mile down the road. He said, I'll be all right. Well, he got 4 or 5 blocks from the place where they were drinking and having a party, where the law stopped him for weaving. I can't imagine that, can you? But said he got out, he took his license, and he was fixed to tell him to walk the line and do his thing. Said a call come over the radio, said there was a robbery which wasn't but 1 block away from where they were at. Well, the police says, you wait right here. we'll be right back. Well, said he waited and he waited and he waited and he waited. And he says, I think I'll just go on home. So he drives home and he gets there and he tells his wife, he says, if anybody comes looking for me, I'm in the bed all day with the flu. I've been in bed all day with the flu. Now, he didn't tell her that he had got stopped and with nothing. He just said, I've been in the bed all day with the flu. I'm going to get to the point here on this. That's the reason I like this story, to kind of go along with Brother Aiken here. Just a little while, there was a knock on the door, and she opened the door, and here's the police. Want to know if such man lived here? She said, yes, and he's been in the bed all day with the flu. She said, well, could we see him? She said, well, he's sick, he's in the bed. She said, well, could we see his car? She said, why do you want to see his car? He says, could we see his car? Because they got his license in his hands. See, that's the first thing to do, is get your driver's license. But we want to see his car. So she takes him to the garage and opens the door. And Lord and behold, there's the police car with a light still flashing in the garage. See, he had everything in his mind. He had almost got away with it. But the patrol car and the license, see, he even had an alibi to where he was at. He almost got away with this. And Brother Aiken, see, I can just see him now, because he said that it was going to be accursed. He said, don't touch nothing here because it's going to be destroyed. It's going to be burnt. Leave it alone.
That's right.
But Brother Aiken couldn't help himself. He said to get in here, and here's his Babylonian garment there. Yeah. And there was some silver, and I think it was 50 shekels of gold that he coveted. You know, I think the Bible tells us, he says, covet not your neighbor's stuff.
Right.
But God had done told him, he said, this belongs to me.
Amen.
Everything belongs to me. So he had told Joshua what to do. He says, you take the priest and you take the Ark of the Covenant, but you put all these people in front of them with these bullhorns, and you walk the first day around it. He told them what to do. He said, you take this and you let all the arms be behind them and be before them, all the armored men, his soldiers. And they do this the first day. He said, but you don't make no noise. You don't say anything. You do this. And you do it. And you do it. And you do it. He did this 6 days, but the 7th day, you do it 7 times around. He said, then on that 7th time, he said, you let them blow their bullhorns. He said, everybody holler at one time. And he said, the walls fell flat. Oh, but that one little piece. Everybody know what I'm talking about? Yeah. There was one piece on that wall that didn't fall down.
It's a thread on. Yeah.
And Joshua told them 2 fellers, and the 2 spies, he called them, that went in. See, Rahab had hid those 2 spies down and told her what to do. He said, you leave that purple robe hanging out there. And there was something else. We had a Savior, I believe, that had a purple robe, or a scarlet robe that he wore one time. I don't know where that come from, but he said, you go get Rahab and whoever's with her in that house, and you bring them out.
Come on.
Well, he brings them out there, and there's her mama and her daddy and their brothers and sisters and the whole family that was in that one little old room. That spared them.
Yeah.
But God told him what to do. But I keep going back to Achan. When he gets in here, in one part of it here, it says that they blamed Israel, but Achan's the one that done the stealing. But God told him to start with. He says, don't touch it.
Yes,
It's a curse to you. He said, because it's all of Israel. They said, well, why? Well, now, in my mind, what if, just suppose that Achan had went out here and he found all these things and he covered them and he took them. Do you think that some of his brothers over here says, Achan, don't do that. Achan, you shouldn't do that. Don't touch that. God said don't do that. But what happened? He got it, and then here his brothers turned their backs. Well, it ain't none of my business. Or we could go back to the point where it says that, judge not, lest you be judged. Oh, the Bible said that too, didn't it?
Yes, it does. Amen.
Well, they had their back on it. Judge not, lest you be judged. Well, I can't say nothing. But God said, don't touch it, leave it alone. Let's go back. I think it's 7 and 19. 6 and 18, excuse me. And ye, in any wise, keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest you make yourselves accursed. When you take of the cursed thing and make the camp of Israel accursed and trouble it. What? What's 19 say? He said, but all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron are consecrated to the Lord. They shall come into the treasures of the Lord. Well, Achan, he didn't hear those words, I guess.
Come on.
But he's seen all that stuff. And you know, I was thinking about this day. I got out and walk around in the yard, and y'all know when I'm really get excited, because I get nauseated now, I'm going to tell you, before I start to get up here before you preaching. And I'm praying for the Lord, because I need his help.
Amen.
I can't do this on my own. I can't do this.
Nobody can, brother.
It's all up to the Lord. But I thought about this today now.
Amen.
Just think about the people, the storm has devastated everything, it's tore up everything. You ride up on your truck and your trailer, and here is just lumber scattered everywhere. I don't know why the Lord showed that to me today. But just, you know, from the houses, but there's lumber everywhere. And in my mind, I said, you know what, I mean, this is all destroyed. You know, God just destroyed it, but it's good lumber. And I need me a good shed at the house. And you get out and you start picking up this lumber and putting it on your truck and your trailer, and you're taking it home. What have you done? You have stolen this stuff.
Amen.
Now, you maybe not from God, but you still stole it.
Come on. Amen. Yours.
God showed me that today.
That's right.
You know, you thinking you're, well, it's just scrap now. It's, you know, it's just laying out here. But it's not yours.
Not true.
You ain't asked nobody for nothing. You know, God let me know it. Same way with Achan done it. When he walked there, God done told him, this is mine. I'm giving you Jericho. I done told you what to do, how to do it, and everything. Everything's going to be burnt and destroyed.
Come on.
That's why he said, get Rahab and the family out. So they were in Jerusalem already. It's where they were, even on this day it said, but I know it's years past.
Yeah.
But it says, Achan seen all this and he coveted it. He got him an armful of stuff. Well, that wasn't too bad.
Come on, brother.
Oh, I just got just a little bit.
Come on.
Well, I got just a little bit of lumber to build me a shed with.
Come on.
One piece is bad as having a truckload of it.
Come on.
Because I stole it.
Yes,
Just like Achan. But now we're going to get over a little bit further over here. I think about chapter 7 where Achan takes this home with him. And he buries it in his tent.
Yeah.
He said, oh, I got it made now. That's kind of like this guy here. He takes the police car home and he puts it in the garage. He thinks he got it made.
Come on.
He's got an alibi. Well, see, Achan takes his home and he buries it in the center of his tent under all his stuff, it says.
Come on.
Now, his wife could have said, now, Achan, this is not right. You can't put this stuff in this tent. I believe that's the word kind of something this way.
Amen.
Says, you can't do this. Or his children could have said, now, Daddy, you know that's not right. But God said, don't do that.
Right.
That's a cursed thing, and you bring it in our home.
Right.
But what happens? God takes it out on Jerusalem, or on Joshua, on the people of Israel. After he gave them this, I believe it starts out in chapter 7, 8. It says, anyway, they're going to take Ai, which is another little boxed-in city. And he sends a couple men and says, go over here and check this thing out. Well, they go over and check it out and come back and say, I wouldn't send over 2,000 or 3,000 people.
That's right.
He said, there ain't nothing, we're just going to just take them and wipe them out. That's what they said. But what happened now, when they get over there, Ai chases them away. And you know, and here's something else that gets me. They killed 36 men while they were chasing them away. Now, I may not be putting this out, a lot of this is my words, the way I'm feeling this thing. But said he killed 36 men. Now, I want to back up just a little bit over here in Jericho, where all the people were marching around. They had thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and they destroyed Jericho.
burn it to the ground. I mean, everything except the gold and silver and bronze that had to be in the sanctuary of God. Not one person was killed. Not one. You ever thought about that?
Come on.
And now you're going to send
Yeah.
2,000 or 3,000 people over here and 36 men get killed. Think about this for a second. 36 had Achan not done what he did.
Come on now. He hadn't done what he did. Amen.
36 fathers would have not died.
Right.
36 husbands would have not died.
Right.
36 sons
Come
would have
on.
not died.
Come on.
36 children of God would not have died
Come on.
because of one man.
Yeah.
What?
Good preach.
Stealing from God.
Amen.
He stole from God when he strictly told us not to. And another thing come to me today. I sit there and I went to crying. And I think a lot different sometimes than other people when my mind starts rolling. And I said, Lord, forgive me. How much I have stolen from you.
Come on, Brother Charles.
How much have I stolen from you?
Come on, time.
Instead of being in that closet,
Come on, man.
praying, or being right here reading your word,
Come
seeking thy
on.
face.
Lord
But yet I
help us.
was watching TV or I was on Facebook or I'm
Lord
watching or
help
doing something that the flesh desired.
Amen. Come on.
How much have we
Come on.
stole from God
Amen.
when all he wants a little bit of
Amen.
time?
Just a little bit of time.
Just a little bit of time he wants from you.
Preach it. Come on.
Achan had taken from God and
Amen.
stole from him.
Yes.
But that wasn't bad enough.
Right.
Praise God.
Preach. Just go on.
Hallelujah.
Enjoy yourself.
Amen. I love to be up here. I love to be before the crowd. Not for myself.
Preaching God's word.
But I want the word of God to come out, but I want
Amen.
you to understand what I'm trying to tell you.
Amen.
That when we steal from God, he tells us what to do with his
Yes,
word.
Amen.
He said, thou shalt not. Thou shalt not.
Shouldn't do it.
He tells us all the way
Yeah.
through this. Brother Ricky been preaching his heart out. Brother Taylor
Yeah.
preaching his heart out. Thou shalt not do these things.
Come on.
And when he told Achan, well, it wasn't just Achan, he told all Israel, do not do this because this is
Amen.
mine.
This is mine.
Don't do this. But he had that in his heart. And I can understand it. We all in our flesh, we come up and just think for a second. You know, you're wide open, like I said about the lumber part of it. You're wide open here, and there is, that garment is so pretty. That's that Babylonian, you know, I don't know, probably had some little flanges on it and designs and colors. I don't know. But it was just so pretty.
Yeah.
He had to have it. But then when he moved that, there was that beautiful gold.
Come on.
50 shekels, that's a lot of gold.
Amen.
And then there was that silver. Oh, I gotta have it. And ain't nobody really around except the people, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, they won't miss just this little bit.
Come on.
And he takes this home and he buries it. But then he involves his family. And that wasn't enough, you know. When they sent AI and they got all these men killed and they come back, they were running, said that their hearts melted and turned to water.
Yeah.
Because they were afraid of them now. Joshua the elder said he fell on her face crying before the Ark of the Covenant, just crying, God, what can I do now? He says, even our name is going to be gone. Wish we had stayed on the other side of Jordan. When I heard that, that made me think about the children of Israel. So I wish God would stay by the flesh pots over yonder in Egypt.
Yeah.
I said, my God, when you get in a little bit of trouble, you wish you'd have stayed somewhere else.
Yeah.
You don't have enough of God in you to push through, to go through what you need to go through. We're going to have these battles. We're going to have these trials. We're going to go through these things. God said he'd have a tried people.
Amen. People.
And he says, come out from among them and be ye a separate people. Be my people. He said, I have called you even from your mother's womb. Wasn't that what you said this morning? He said, I have called you earlier. He said, I know what you're going to be when you grow up.
Amen.
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 Tonight, but Achan didn't hear all this. He was letting the things of the flesh draw him.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Oh, I've been guilty.
Same way we are.
I'm guilty.
Come on.
My God, I see something so pretty. Now, I ain't going out there and stole nothing now, but, you know, it's so pretty in my flesh. I want this.
Yep.
And I haven't purchased it because I didn't need it, but it was so good, I just wanted it. Who else likes ice cream?
Come on.
Oh, you don't really need it, but you want it.
Come on.
So I believe that's just the way Achan was.
That's exactly right.
He didn't really need that. God supplying all their needs, the manna from heaven is still coming down. He said on that last day when they had that feast,
they all ate at the corner of the place, and that was the last day that manna fell.
Amen.
And from then on, they have to eat off the fat of the land, it said. But poor old Achan, when he took this stuff home, see, it just tears me up. Every time I read that part, it said that when he told Joshua, he says, get up off that ground. He said, what are you doing?
Sin in the camp, buddy.
He says, Israel has sinned.
Come on.
He said, until you do it, he said, I'm not going to be with you anymore. I'm going to back up. You take care of it. Said he gets tribe by tribe, man by man. He went through. And then he gets to poor old Achan. He says, give God the glory. Give God praise. He says, hide it not from him. What have you done?
Amen.
He says, I've done such and such and such and such, the Bible says. He didn't explain it. He had already told what he'd done, but he said he had done such and such. And it's hid in my tent under my stuff. Joshua sent some of his men over there. They went and dug it up and brought it before all Israel and laid it out. They brought his wife, his children,
All this
his
stuff.
asses, his goats and sheep, and everything that he had, his tent. Said he brought it all over, and then it went to Achor. This tears my heart up when I think about this people. Just because he disobeyed at one time.
The price for sin.
Just because he coveted this stuff of this world. Oh Lord, I didn't know it was.
Price for sin.
And he said, it took him to Achor, and he said all Israel stoned them to death.
Come
Well,
on.
wait a minute now. What did Achan have done the stealing, and why did his family have to pay for it?
Come on.
I've already told you, they could have said, Achan, don't bring that cursed thing in our home. But they knew about it, see. They covered it up for him. That was kind of like the drunk fellow, wasn't it? You know, his wife, he had that alibi. Well, he had his wife and his children were his alibi. See, they were all in it too. So they were just as guilty as Achan was. But God said, get rid of it. Get this cursed thing out of it.
Come on.
And that's what all Israel stoned them. Then it said it burnt them. Everything they had, it burnt. And then they piled it over with rocks until this day. It just tears my heart up to think about that. I said, God, I said, how could you destroy somebody like this? But he said he would not he would not tolerate sin in the camp. Sin in the camp. And we want to think that we can sit around here and do just any old way.
Come on, man.
God said, I'm the same yesterday, today, and forever.
Same way.
I change not. So why do we think that we can sit around here and do little or nothing and do it our way? God, but I don't feel like it's going to hurt us. Brother Ricky mentioned this morning. I think it'd be all right if I just do a little bit my way over here.
Come on.
What the Word say about it?
What the word say?
The Word said don't do it.
Come on.
Don't do it.
By the word.
And it cost Achan and his whole family. It said it took everything. And that hurts my heart just to think about it, you know, that there, for something, and he still didn't get the things of this world. It was already, you know, nothing was there. I don't know how I want to say that part, but it cost him and his whole family their lives, even his beast. It cost them their lives for something of this world that he didn't get to keep. It done him no good whatsoever. And in chapter 8, I believe it is where God said, okay, see, I have given you Ai now. Take it and go over and do this. By night, he takes part of his men, he puts them on the back side of them, and then Joshua takes part of his men, he comes back. I'm trying to hurry, I'm trying to hurry.
Don't worry about that. Come on.
But he said, I'm going to give you this. Because they were already afraid. Because if the rest of the people hear what happened here, he said, then we're going to be nothing. But God said, do it this way. He told him exactly how to do it. He gets over here that morning, he comes in, and they get up close, and over the king and the people see him. They start coming out after him. Well, they turn and they run as before. It said Joshua got out there, and when they got out, and the one behind it come in and set Ai on fire. And when he spoke, he had his rod held out. He said he didn't take it down until it was literally destroyed. Everything. And the men turned to see the place on fire. He said they turned back on them. He said they come from side. And they destroyed everyone. There was nothing living left. It was all destroyed. It said all the kings, I believe the next chapter says all the kings got together and would go against him. But you know what? They couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
They could not stand. One king, he got all of his people, and they put on rags, molded bread. I remember our pastor preached about that one time, and that just come to me when he said about the molded bread. You know, they went to him with old raggedy shoes. I mean, and they looked like they had been out on a long journey, and you know, they're just going up there, and they come in and says, "We've been on a long journey, but we want to be with you."
Come on, they lied.
They lied to them. If you come out to be their servants, be their water and their wood bearers or whatever, you know. But Joshua found out they were lying, but they were but they were alive because they had made a creed together that they wouldn't kill them. That was, it didn't matter how they had to do it, but they didn't want to die. Yeah, so it made me think about how come Achan didn't try to do something else, but it wouldn't have mattered. But God had told Joshua, destroy it. Get out of the camp. Because once he did, that's just like he done back in chapter 6, I believe 5 or 6, he says that all of them will want to circumcise all the men. Because see, when they come out of Egypt, all the men were circumcised. But here for 40 years, they finally died out, but all the ones born in the desert were not.
That's right.
So God had them all circumcised, and they waited over at Gilgal, I believe was the name of the place, and that's where Saul liked to stay a lot of time in Gilgal. I don't know why I brought about that, but that was part of it anyway. Praise the Lord.
Amen.
But God knows what he wants to do when he wants to do it.
He does.
He knows who will do it and who will not do it.
That's right.
We'll sit here, oh yeah, I'll do it, Lord, whatever you want me to do. But when you're tried, you say, oh God, let somebody else do this.
Yeah.
I've told somebody, and I think maybe me and you can talk about it, Brother Ricky, but if you get a feeling, you're sitting right here and just something comes over you, I need to pray for so-and-so. You ain't got to disrupt the service or anything like that, but you get a change, but you sit there and you say, well, Lord, now is that me or is that you? What difference does it make?
Yeah.
If you've got the feeling in your heart to go pray for somebody, go pray for them.
Amen.
It's not going to hurt anything.
Exactly.
Right.
If it don't help, it's not going to hurt.
Amen. Amen.
It doesn't have to be God every time you feel like praying for somebody or doing something other. But I believe God puts that incentive in us to do this.
Amen.
Amen. There's a couple. I'm just about through. Praise God. I'm gonna stop just to preach. Praise the Lord. I've got so much here. I could tell Brother Ricky tonight. It's 6 and 2. It says, and the Lord said unto Joshua, see, I have given into thine hand Jericho and the king thereof and the mighty men of valor. But I want to back up to 6 and 13. I knew there was something I was missing on this part of it. This is when Joshua and the people were coming over here, and just before they had taken over Jericho, it says, and it came to pass when Joshua was by Jericho that he lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, there stood a man over against him with a sword drawn in his hand. And Joshua went unto him and said unto him, art thou for us or for our adversaries? And he said, nay, but as the captain of hosts of the Lord am I now come. And Joshua fell on his face to the earth, and did worship, and said unto him, what saith my Lord unto his servant? And that, when I was reading this, it made me think about what Brother Ricky was saying about the people talking about, oh, I was talking to God, or all the time about the angels. This is just the captain of a host, and Joshua fell on his face on the ground before him. Why? Obedience to God, but he's also fearful. But read 15 what it says. It says, and the captain of the Lord's host said unto Joshua, loose thy shoes from off thy foot, for the place whereon thou standest is holy. And Joshua did so. Now, when I read this verse, it made me think about another man that went up on a mountain and said there was a fiery bush burning. His name was Moses. He said when he got there, he says, Moses, Moses. He said, who art thou? He said, I am that I am. He says, take off thy shoes, for where you stand is holy ground. And that made me think, he says it's the same God as yesterday.
Yeah.
He's the same God today. And he's going to be the same God tomorrow. But guess what? We may not be here tomorrow. He said, we have no promise tomorrow, for the day is the day of salvation. And I have looked, and I didn't know what else to do. But when I read that scripture in 6:2, it said, the Lord said unto Joshua, see, I have given unto thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. When I read 15 and 6 and 5 and 15, and when I read 6 and 2, Joshua should have knew right then that God was with him. No matter what was coming up, he knew right then, because here's that big man with a drawn sword in his hand. The captain of the host, he said. Yeah. He is the big man. Come on. That ought to give Joshua enough indication that God was with him. Not that no matter that Joshua loved God and he knew what God was doing. And he done seen God work many, many miracles even through Moses. Yes, he did. Moses. But he also knew there was a mighty God with him. Amen. And he said, look, I have given this unto your hands. When he said, look, I have given Ai unto you, after he had gotten rid of Achan and his family and stuff, he got evil out of the people, out of the camp. Tonight, God is still moving. Amen. And when there's evil in the camp, you can bet. What did you say this morning? That bug, you're going to smack it. When evil is in the camp, God will move it. He will make a way. And tonight, and there's so much more I wanted to say, I want to go through, but I'm not going to do it. But tonight, if there's something in your life that's holding you, keeping you back from serving God the way that you need to do it, these altars is open. Amen. And that's the only way I know you're going to get rid of whatever is blocking you. Because as I pray today, believe me, when you get up here, you can see these ministers. When you get up here, you have read, you have prayed, you have sought God. What would you have me do? What would you have me do, Lord? I know I'm nothing. I know that I'm nothing. But Lord, use me of my potential. Whatever that I can do for you. And I thought about it again. I said, Lord, I'll clean the bathrooms. Lord, I'll get in here and I'll back up before it. I'll cut the grass. I'll sweep the sidewalk. Yeah. I don't have to be the front row. I like to get behind the picture. Amen. I don't like to be out here in the front of the thing. I love to preach the word of God. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want to be the front man. I don't want you seeing me. Come on. I want you to see what lives inside me. Hallelujah. Amen. I want you to see God. And that's my desire, Lord. Don't let them see me. Let them see you. For it's all you. It's all about you. Everything is you. Not me. I'm just a servant, as I said before, Sister Hatcher. I don't know why that stuck in my mind so definitely. That she says, I'm just a pipe. God is the water. Oh, hallelujah. And tonight that water is flowing in this place. Amen. And if you need something from the Lord, I invite you to come. Hallelujah, Jesus. I approve the message, Lord. There's so much I could put in there. But tonight, the Lord is seeking you. He's made a place. He says, come out from among the world and you suffer. If you need something tonight, please come. Hallelujah. If you need something from the Lord, come on. Anybody need anything from the Lord? Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Praise God. It's my honor to be here tonight. I thank you for allowing me to be here and speak what God would have in my heart. I love each and every one of you. I just thank you. Praise the Lord. It's good to be in the house of the Lord again tonight. Amen. Thank you, Lord. Hallelujah.
Amen, Brother Charles. Amen. You can tell that man reads the Bible.
Oh, yes, sir.
And I must admit, it is just hard when you get up here and you pray and you preach and as hard as you can, and nobody is here to come up to the altar. It kind of is disappointing. Sister Barbara, when you try all you know to do and all you want is somebody to decide, hey, I want this, I want what you're talking about. That's what you want. Well, y'all, I want to tell you something tonight. There's only one way we're going to get somebody saved, and that's to bring them to the house of God. So I want to challenge everybody here. Let's start getting out and bringing some people to church. Amen. If they don't have a way, you let me know, and we will get them here.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow, some way.
Amen.
You see, the Bible says, does it not, Brother Charles, to go out to the highways and the hedges and come
Yes, it
over them
does.
in?
Amen.
Now, have I went out in the bushes and looked out and see who I could find? Have I really tried hard to say y'all come to church? You say, but am I supposed to do that? Read the Bible.
Amen.
He did say that was for preachers only.
Right.
Anybody loves the Lord. If you love the Lord and you want to see these souls not go to hell,
Oh, yes.
then you ought to get them. And listen, if they say they'll come to church, but not your church, say, okay, just go to church.
Amen.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
See, you get credit for doing something from God, no matter where they go. Amen. I'm so thankful, Brother Charles. Brother Charles, I thought about that. I said, well, I ought to go over and get prayed for. I always need prayer. See, because I want him to not feel like I do. You preach as hard as you can.
Yeah.
You look at your scripture and you know, it just make you feel good. And you don't have to do it just to make somebody feel good. What I'm saying, we want to see God touch somebody.
Amen.
Amen?
Amen.
Well, James, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Come on.
We got to go get some people and bring them in.
That's right.
Bring them in.
Praise God.
If you feel led, let me tell you something. When Brother Charles was asking you, did you need something from the Lord? If the thought hit your mind to walk up here, what are you doing still sitting there?
That's very good.
Come on.
What are you doing still sitting there? If the very thought hit your mind to walk up here,
That's exactly right.
you disobeying the Holy Spirit by
Amen.
sitting where you're sitting.
That's right.
Amen.
That's right.
Amen.
Come on, brother.
Come on.
If the thought hits your mind and you still sitting there, remember the story I told you about Mr. Grady, waiting on some feeling. Come on, Brother Charles. Waiting on some feeling before he'd come up there.
Hallelujah.
It ain't about a feeling.
Amen, brother.
Listen, God don't got certain parts of your body where he
Hallelujah.
mashes to make you jump, or
Amen.
mashes to make you come, or mashes to make you go. No, he deals with our mind.
Yes, he does.
Amen?
Hallelujah,
He
Jesus.
deals with our
Hallelujah,
mind.
Jesus.
Praise God. Hallelujah.
And you thought about coming up here when he was asking.
Amen.
Praise God.
I didn't know it, it was pointed out to me, but God showed me the words to say, to prick your heart, to make you go ahead and give in to what he said to do. Now I'm gonna let the brother here handle it any way he wants to
Hallelujah,
handle it.
hallelujah.
He was the man that
Thank you,
God put in this
Jesus.
spot.
Thank you,
He's the
Jesus.
man we're gonna all pray with him, but we're gonna let
Yeah.
him pray, amen. Anytime the Lord wants you to do something, do it, amen.
Do it, Jesus.
Hallelujah.
Right now, Jesus. God, we stand in agreement, Lord, with this brother. God, you see the battles that he's fought. God, you see the troubles, the trials. You see the concerns, the worries. God, you see the problems that he faces from day to day. You see the decisions, God, that he makes, God, on a daily basis. The concerns that come to his way. Father, tonight I ask, Lord, as the men of God lay hands on him, and we pray the prayer for him. God, as we believe for this brother, Lord, tonight. Ask God that you move for him.
Get rid of this.
Make a way for him, Lord. Give him peace, God.
God, you see
Peace tonight, Jesus, that surpasses understanding.
God, for we know
God, an assurance, Lord, that you're right in the middle of this situation. That you're right in the middle of his life. That you're right in the middle of his home. That you're right in the middle of that job, God. Whatever he's facing, Lord.
that he's able to love
From day to day, God. Give him
God,
peace,
I'm asking
Lord.
you to touch him.
Give him assurance, Lord.
God, deliver
Give him, God, right now that
Let
what
that
he
be
needs, God. He can leave this place.
that love and that mercy.
God, he can walk out of here. Know that
you
you're
brought
here.
us, Lord.
Know
God,
that
you
you
tell
know
us,
know that
sorrow,
you
God.
know, God, that you touch that
God,
situation.
let your hand.
And let faith rise
God,
up in him,
feel
Jesus.
your
Let it rise up
God,
like a
feel
strong
your
tide.
inside. Touch you,
God, let him know your word is for him, not for him, for
We
anybody.
thank you right now, Lord.
Jesus'
Lord
name.
Jesus.
Jesus'
God, I
name.
thank you, Lord God, for the
You, Lord.
God, empty his heart and soul tonight.
Yes,
God,
God.
I'm asking you to honor
You,
God,
Lord.
his
Yes,
heart is
God.
feeling right now.
Hallelujah,
In
Jesus.
name.
Yes,
Thank you,
God.
Lord. We praise you, Lord. Oh, hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Oh, hallelujah. Yes, he does.
You know what nights we have church here? What nights we have church here?
Thank you, Jesus.
Sunday, Tuesday,
Thank you, Lord.
whatever you do it, if there's any way possible, I want you to be here.
Yes.
You part of our family. We don't
Amen,
see you
Jesus.
yet.
Amen.
We miss you. You part of our
Thank you,
family.
Jesus.
know we
Thank
love
you, Jesus.
And
Thank
we
you,
love you,
Jesus.
buddy. You part of our
Praise
family.
God.
Come on.
Amen.
Amen. We got
Hallelujah,
one
Lord.
missing up here on that sits right here.
Amen.
She's not here tonight. We'll try to get up with her and see if there's something wrong. Sister Ann. We're gonna get a hold of Sister Ann and see, make sure nothing's wrong. Amen. Anyone else need prayer tonight? Praise the Lord. I'm getting good at reading signs.
Hallelujah.
I saw somebody gave me a cue a while ago and I called it. I knew exactly who they were. I knew what they were doing.
Amen.
You know what this sign means right here, Brother Allen? If you ever see my wife do this, wipe your mouth.
Wipe him out.
Wipe your mouth. Wipe your mouth. Amen?
Amen.
If you ever see her looking all crazy, turn around, make sure everything's zipped up and buttoned up. Come on, we need all the help we can get.
Oh, my Lord. Amen.
That woman looks out for me.
Lord.
I try to look out for her. Amen?
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Okay.
Praise the Lord. I got you to laugh, didn't I? But I can't tell you the times I'd see her do that and I'd be hunting that. Hunting me a napkin, because I know there's something somewhere they ain't supposed to be. Sister Martha, I gotta get rid of them. Must have some white goobers hanging out there somewhere. I get rid of them. Brother Charles done a good job. I tell you, we should all get in that word and start reading. You know, it's been a while since I read about ancient and all.
Amen.
They were sinning the count. But they went family by family, to tribe by tribe, till God got to that family. And he let them know they're the ones. That's where the problem lies. See, he reminded me of that story I hadn't written in a while. That's terrible, that one man. You know, just think about that. Like you said, for one sin, him and his family and all that he had was put to death. Oh, now that Jesus came. Now that Jesus came, though. Thank God one sin won't tear you down. Thank God that all we got to do is ask him to forgive us if we slip and do it again. And just ask him to forgive us and help us and try harder. Brother Allen, we ain't got to be put to death. We ain't got to watch our children die for something we call.
That's right.
Amen. Thank you again, Jesus, for what you did. You come. All minds clear.
Brother, on Thursday of this week, I have to get started with a series of shots in my knee. And one should know, I got to get one shot in my knee. Makes me hear about screams. I never have screams, but I hear about it.
Let me tell you something that works for me. When they put down there that long old needle and it comes in there,
Yes, sir.
I count every ceiling tile in that place and call on Jesus and everything else. And then when he goes to pumping it in there and it feels like your knee's fixing to explode because it gets so tight, I've grabbed the doctor's hand and I said, whoa, and he said, son, stop. I got to get it all in there. I said, you're going to blow my knee up, man. But look, don't look at the needle, whatever you do. Look away. Count the freckles on the nerves, count the ceiling tiles, and talk to Jesus. Don't look at that needle. How many's had that long needle put in their knee before?
Many times it don't hurt.
Many times it don't hurt.
Don't even
Don't
bother
you just want to slap him? Many times it don't even hurt.
They took 32 ounces off of my shoulder day before yesterday.
That's a tough old bird right there, now, I'm going to tell you.
And I gotta go back because it's there again.
I believe you just like going. Sister Martha, I didn't like it. Now, I know you dread it too, but it's going to be all right, sure. You know why? Because God's on your side. You call on God. I wasn't making light of it. I know I've had them in both of them. And I didn't like it, and every time I had to go do it, but I knew I had to have it. Huh? It felt better after. It's helped my right. That new gel pack stuff they got me, the steroids helped a little for a while. But that gel stuff they shot in there that's supposed to kind of take like cartilage, that worked. I just wished I could go get some of this one now. But that gel stuff, I don't know what they do. Is steroids to you or gel pack?
It's it. He called it cushion shot.
Okay, he must be putting that gel stuff in yours then. Well, I don't think that's quite as bad as the steroids, but anytime somebody comes at me with a needle, it's bad. It's bad. Sister, hey, you never laugh at us if I want to. Do what I did. Look in the ceiling, call on Jesus. You know what I told my daughter to do when she had to go in there? And I could see the fear in her eyes. You know what I said to do? I said, baby, do what I do. I said, look away and call on Jesus. So that's what I did. Look away and call on Jesus. Them dentists, you know what they hear out of me? The last thing they hear before they go in my mouth? Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Jesus. Help me, Lord. It's coming out of that tooth. Help me, Jesus. I'm playing, but I'm serious. That's what I do. When I had this shoulder surgery.
I said the same thing last Thursday when my teeth popped.
Come on. You know, when they come got me for my shoulder surgery right here on this shoulder, I was scared to death. And I didn't really want my wife to know about it, but I was terrified for that. I was terrified because they didn't tell me what they're going to do. They're going to go in a spot here and a spot here and a spot, and they're going to shave some bone off. And I didn't like the sound of all that. But you know what? God gave me a little piece when that guy come got me out of my room and wheeled me down there. It was a young guy, real young guy. He was probably in his early 20s. Had a light beard, and he was just chatting with me, you know. And all of a sudden, when he got me out in the hall, and we had to go, that outpatient had to go down to the hospital a long ways down there. And you know what? He went to singing, what song was it? I can't even remember the song. They done had me a little drowsy, but it was a gospel song. And I looked up at him like that. I said, I love that song. And he got louder, going all through the hospital. What word about people? I believe I must have put down something about I love Jesus or something, because he sung that song all the way to the operating room. All the way to the operating room. Amen. Made me feel better. It did. Amen. Because I thought they was to kill me. I did. I never had surgery before. I was dreading it, Sister Martha. I'm a big baby. My wife would tell you, I get sick, I'm a baby. I'm a baby. I'm a bad
I
patient.
make sure everything's right with me and the Lord, because I know I might not wake up.
Amen. But you gonna wake up, though. We want to see you some more. But that's a good idea to always be right and ready with the Lord, because we don't know ever when we go. All mine's clear tonight. Sister Martha, you got to go Tuesday? Thursday.
The next 3 Thursdays.
The next 3 Thursdays, it'll be okay, sis. I guarantee you. It'll be okay.
Once you start thinking about it, I'm planning to go, somebody go with it, Friday night. It'll be a fellowship meeting. And, we haven't been to one, I don't know if we've been to one this year.
Yeah, we have. We went down there to Bonifay.
Yeah,
Us. Almost to Bonifay.
They have,
It's, I don't know where was that. I mean, I know.
Well, you're in Bonifay somewhere in the back of the woods.
this is a little further off, so we.
Over there, close to
Pine Hill Church.
close to Birmingham.
Bethlehem.
Where's
This
your
is down
name?
at Pine Lawn.
Oh, that's a good ride.
Yeah.
That's a long ride there.
I know
though.
where she lives.
I think I might have to wait till one's a little closer. That's a long, long
Well,
ride.
next month will be in, Brother Raymer's.
Okay, now I can deal with Enterprise. I can deal with that.
The end of next month. We got one in Cottondale, but then we got that one. I looked at the thing, because I was thinking it was this coming Friday night, but it's not.
It's not.
In November.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna be looking for them closer ones, Pastor. Them long trips, I don't like them because they used to. My van ain't what it used to be.
I ain't
It
going
needs a
down
little bit
there.
of love on it. But praise the Lord. Sunday night. Praise the Lord. Brother Tim will be preaching Sunday night, and y'all listen. Start inviting somebody to church, and we're gonna rifle off Brother Odell's truck. When we doing that, brother? I got a smile out of him on that one, but he said, you ain't rifling my truck off. No amount of money, he said. Amen. Praise the Lord. Pastor, will you dismiss us tonight?
Hallelujah. Father, we're so thankful again today for your blessings.
Yes,
Which
we
one
are.
gone?
Yes, we are.
Thy word,
Thank you, Jesus.
Songs.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank
Oh,
you.
yes, Jesus.
this
Yes,
makes
Jesus. Yes,
church.
Jesus.
And God, I ask you to dismiss us. Lord, go with us, our place of abode, watch over us toward the
Yes,
end.
yes, in
In Christ's
Jesus'
name, I
name.
pray.
In Jesus' name.
Amen and amen. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Not only do I feel it, I can see it.
Yeah.
About that big
I
around.
have to go tomorrow and have them drawn out. It don't matter. It don't matter.
It don't bother
Feel
you.
right there.
They can get hurt. They can get in that bone and bother you.
They come in there, she goes to cruise this long, feel both of them. Then she went and got a great big one,
Brother Charles and George,
and she only got it in.